You're watching a free sample video from Teacher's Test Prep. For videos like this one covering every area of your exam, visit us today at www.teacherstestprep.com.
Capitalization and punctuation. You might see questions on the exam that ask you to fix a sentence or choose a correctly written sentence, and the factor that they're looking at there is how the sentence or part of a sentence is capitalized or how the punctuation is being used. So let's review some of the basics of capitalization and punctuation. First of all, the first word of a sentence is always capitalized, and proper nouns are always capitalized. A proper noun is the name of a specific person, place, or thing. So an individual's name, like Robert or Jim, those are proper nouns. The name of a city, like Seattle, that's a proper noun. So these are all examples of proper nouns, as opposed to a common noun like boy or dog or something like that does not get capitalized. Certain words, such as mom, can serve as both a common noun and a proper noun depending on the context, and it should be capitalized accordingly. Meaning is that the name of a specific person, like mom bought me a cake, right? So then you could replace that with your mom's name. You're referring to specific mom, then it's a proper noun. But if you're referring to the idea of moms in general, to be a mom is a very great gift. So in that case, you're not talking about a specific mom, you're talking about the general idea of moms. So in that case, you would treat it as a common noun and you would not capitalize it. Commas should be used to set off non-essential clauses and phrases, appositives, and introductory clauses and interrupting words and phrases. So if a clause can be removed from a sentence and the sentence would still make grammatical sense without it, that phrase should generally be separated by commas. So let me give you an example of an appositive. An appositive is a second noun or noun phrase describing a preceding noun. An introductory clause might be something like, before I woke up, I was having a dream about dragons and sorcerers, or whatever it happens to be, right? So before I woke up is the introductory clause, and then I was having a dream about dragons and sorcerers. That's the independent clause in the sentence. So that dependent clause, the introductory clause, has a comma after it, separating it from the independent clause. Commas should also be used to separate elements in a list or series of words. So if I said I went to the store and I bought bacon, eggs, cheese, and milk, we put commas between each of the elements that are in that list. Semicolons are used to separate independent clauses when the separation is not done by a coordinating conjunction, or when the clauses are joined by a conjunctive adverb, which is, for example, however or therefore. So if we have two independent clauses, like I went to the store, and then we have the clause, it was closed. We could join those by saying, I went to the store and it was closed. And we use the conjunction and. But we could also just get rid of the conjunction and put a semicolon. I went to the store, semicolon, it was closed. In that case, we've joined those two independent clauses correctly with a semicolon. Another example is when we have a conjunctive adverb. So if I said, I went to the store, semicolon, however, comma, it was closed. That would also be correct. If you're going to put a conjunctive adverb, it's usually preceded by a semicolon, and it's usually followed, in most cases, by a comma. Semicolons are also used to separate independent clauses that are joined by a coordinating conjunction if there are commas in any of the clauses. So if the clauses are already broken up with commas, you might put a semicolon there to separate them. Or if you're using if there are separate lists, and within each of the lists you have a sublist that's separated with commas. There's another example of that same concept. So if I said, I went to the store and bought food, such as bacon, eggs, cheese, and milk, with commas in between each of the items, semicolon. Toys, such as Lincoln Logs, Tinker Toys, and building blocks, semicolon. And cleaning products such as mops, brooms, and buckets, commas in each of those lists. So the individual items in the list are separated by commas, but the major lists themselves, of the list of toys, the list of cleaning products and the list of food items, those major lists are separated by semicolons. And remember, a semicolon is just a dot with a comma underneath it. A colon, which is just two dots, is used introducing a quotation, explanation, an example, or a series. And it's generally translated to mean as follows, whether or not the phrase as follows actually appears within the sentence. So you could say, here are some things I like, colon, snowboarding, swimming, and reading. What you should not do, however, is use a colon after any form of the to be verb. So you wouldn't say some things I like are, colon, snowboarding, swimming, and reading. If you're going to use a version of the to be verb like is, was, or are, in that case you don't need a colon. So the colon is only something that you're going to use to present a list or series of ideas if you do not use a version of the to be verb to connect those ideas. Apostrophes are used to indicate the omission of a letter or letters from a word. So for example, can't, won't, it's, we're, your. These are all contractions. We've eliminated N-O from cannot. We've eliminated I from it's because that's actually it is. Or we've eliminated an A because it's actually we are. So we're connecting two words in a contraction and we've eliminated some of the letters. Where those letters have been eliminated, we add an apostrophe. An apostrophe, or apostrophes are also used to define a possessive case. For example, Eric's car, apostrophe S. It's the car belonging to Eric. Sally's brother, Delta's baggage fees, Dallas public transit system. You'll notice in the case of Dallas, because it ends with an S, we simply put an apostrophe. Another case where an apostrophe can follow an S is if you have a group of people. For example, students. If you want to say something belonged to the students, it's the students' school, it would be S apostrophe because it belongs to all of those students. But if you were going to say it belonged to one student, then it would be student apostrophe S.
We hope you found this free Teacher's Test Prep sample video helpful. For more videos like this one covering all the subject matter and strategy you need to pass your exam, visit us today at www.teacherstestprep.com.